Listen closely, because right now, in this very moment, you are being robbed. You are paying a surcharge on your existence that no government has ever legislated and no bank has ever disclosed. It is a silent, invisible drain on your potential, a levy on your soul that extracts a price far higher than any currency. You are paying the mental tax. Every second you spend in the gray mist of indecision, every hour you surrender to the whispers of not yet, or maybe tomorrow, you are handing over a piece of the fortune that was already written in your name. You think you are waiting for the right time, but time is not a resource you possess. It is a commodity you are spending. And while you wait, the interest on your fear is compounding. Napoleon Hill didn't just write about money, he wrote about the alchemy of the human spirit. He understood that wealth is not something you get, it is something you tune into, but you cannot hear the frequency of abundance when your mind is tuned to the static of the average. Look at the world around you. Most people are walking ghosts, haunted by the versions of themselves they were too afraid to become. They are the living dead, because they have accepted the standard of enough. They have settled for a life of quiet desperation, paying their mental taxes in full every single day, never realizing that the chains they wear are forged by their own thoughts. You aren't broke because of the economy. You aren't stagnant because of your upbringing or your boss. You are stuck because you have allowed a squatter to live in the penthouse of your mind, a squatter named doubt. Think of Andrew Carnegie. He didn't come to this country with a chest of gold. He came with a mind that refused to pay the tax. He looked at the chaos of the industrial age and saw a blueprint where others saw a wasteland. He understood a fundamental truth that most will never grasp. The mind is the only thing over which you have absolute, non-negotiable control. Yet you treat it like a public park where any passing thought, any stray opinion, any poisonous headline can set up camp and rot your vision. When you allow the opinions of others to dictate your worth, you are paying a 90% tax on your self-esteem. When you let the memory of a past failure stop you from a future attempt, you are paying a 100% tax on your courage. You are working a job you hate, living in a body you've neglected, and dreaming of a life you haven't earned because you are still trying to negotiate with mediocrity. But there is no negotiation. You cannot bargain with a law of nature. You either command your mind or it commands you. There is no middle ground, there is no trying. There is only the ruthless application of a definiteness of purpose. Thomas Edison failed 10,000 times, but he never paid the tax of discouragement. To him, those weren't failures, they were dividends. He was investing in the certainty of his success. He knew that the light bulb wasn't an invention, it was a manifestation of a thought that he refused to let go of. He locked himself in a laboratory of his own making and barred the door against the skeptics. Are you willing to bar the door? Are you willing to become so obsessed with your vision that the outside world becomes the ghost, and your inner world becomes the only reality that matters? The tragedy of the modern age is that we have more information than any generation in history, yet we have less conviction. We are drowning in how-to and starving for must-do. You don't need another book. You don't need another seminar or a better algorithm. You need to declare bankruptcy on your old way of thinking. You need to stop paying the tax. The wealth you seek, the freedom, the influence, the legacy, is currently being held in escrow by your own subconscious mind, waiting for you to prove that you are a worthy steward. Nature does not give her riches to the timid. She does not yield her secrets to the man who asks, "Why me?" She yields only to the man who says, "Watch me." This is the start of your transmutation. We are moving out of the realm of wishing and into the realm of demanding. Wealth is a state of mind, and the first step to claiming it is to realize that the poverty you see in your bank account is merely a delayed reflection of the poverty in your spirit. We are going to strip away the layers of social conditioning that have taught you to be small. We are going to burn the blueprints of your safe life and replace them with an architecture of fire. Because if you want what 1% of the world has, you must be willing to do what 99% of the world won't even contemplate. You must become a master of the invisible so that you can become a commander of the visible. The first pillar of this new architecture is clarity. Most people are navigating the ocean of life with a compass that points nowhere. They want more money, better health, or happiness. These are not goals, they are hallucinations. Nature cannot respond to a vague request. If you asked a waiter for food, you would get whatever the kitchen wanted to throw away. Yet you ask life for success and wonder why you receive the scraps. You must define your desire with a surgical precision that borders on the fanatical. Napoleon Hill called this the definiteness of purpose. It is the North Star that keeps the ship on course when the storms of life try to tear the rudder from your hands. Without it, you are just a piece of driftwood at the mercy of every current and every wind. Look at the men who built the world we stand upon. Henry Ford didn't just want to build a better carriage. He had a vision so clear he could smell the gasoline and hear the roar of the engine before a single bolt was tightened. When his engineers told him the V8 engine was an impossibility, he didn't pay the tax of logic. He didn't bow to the expertise of the realistic. He commanded them to stay at the task for a year, then another and another, until the impossible became a physical reality. That is the power of a mind that has closed itself against the word cannot. You must decide exactly what you want, down to the cent, down to the second, down to the feeling of the fabric on the seats of the car you will drive. If it is blurred in your mind, it will be broken in your reality. But clarity without belief is nothing more than a daydream. Belief is the fuel in the tank. It is the applied faith that transforms a thought into a magnet. Most people think belief is something you wait to feel once you have the proof. They want to see the harvest before they plant the seed. But the law of the harvest doesn't work that way. You must believe with such a ferocious intensity that your subconscious mind accepts the future as if it were the present. This is where the greats separated themselves. When Abraham Lincoln was failing at every venture, losing elections and buried in grief, he held onto a singular thread of belief that he was meant for more than his circumstances suggested. He wasn't looking at the wooden floor of his cabin, he was looking at the union of a nation. You must understand that your subconscious mind is a fertile garden. It does not care what seeds you plant. If you plant the seeds of I'm not good enough, or the market is too crowded, it will grow a forest of failure with absolute efficiency. But if you plant the seeds of an unwavering conviction, it will move heaven and earth to bring that conviction to life. You have been told that seeing is believing, but I tell you that believing is seeing. You will see the opportunities, you will see the mentors, and you will see the capital only after you have decided that they already belong to you. This isn't positive thinking, fluff. This is the mechanics of the human brain. The reticular activating system in your mind is currently filtering out millions of dollars of opportunity because you haven't given it the command to look for them. You are literally blind to the wealth around you because you are focused on the lack within you and what follows belief. It is the cold, hard steel of self-discipline. This is where the mental tax is collected in the highest amounts. Every time you hit the snooze button, every time you choose the comfort of the scroll over the labor of the soul, you are paying a penalty. Discipline is the ability to give yourself a command and then follow it. It is being the master and the servant at the same time. Most people are terrible masters and even worse servants. They make promises to themselves that they wouldn't dare make to a boss, and then they break them without a second thought. When you break a promise to yourself, you are murdering your self-confidence. You are telling your subconscious that your word is worthless. And if your word is worthless, your vision is a lie. Walt Disney didn't build an empire on magic alone. He built it on a discipline that bordered on the obsessive. He faced 302 rejections for the financing of Disneyland. Imagine the mental tax of the 301st no. A lesser man would have declared bankruptcy on his dream. But Disney understood that discipline is the bridge between goals and accomplishment. He knew that the world would eventually yield to a man who refused to stop walking. Are you that person, or are you a seasonal worker in the vineyard of your own life? Do you work only when you feel like it? The man who works only when he is motivated will always be surpassed by the man who works because it is his duty to his future self. The elite do not wait for the mood to strike. They create the mood through action. They understand that the perfect moment is a myth created by the weak to justify their inaction. There is no perfect moment. There is only now clunky, messy, and uncertain. If you wait for all the lights to turn green before you start your journey to the city, you will never leave your driveway. You must start where you stand with whatever tools you have at your command, and better tools will be found as you go along. This is the action phase of the philosophy. It is the transmutation of thought into labor, but as you move, you must move with a definite plan. A desire without a plan is like a ship without a rudder. It has the power to move, but no capacity to arrive. Your plan doesn't have to be perfect, but it has to be yours. It has to be something you can execute today. Not next week, not after the holidays, today. What is the one thing you can do in the next 60 minutes that will move the needle by 1 millimeter? Do that, then do it again. The compounding interest of daily, disciplined action is the only true get-rich-quick scheme in existence. It is the slow, steady accumulation of small wins that eventually creates the landslide of success.